Hi guys, we're live.
Hello.
It
Hi.
only took a few minutes, but we're here. And how's everybody doing?
Jackie, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
I'm good. Hanging in there. It's been a
Uh,
crazy summer, but yeah, here we are back again.
awesome. I'm doing well as well. Just kind of getting back in the swing of things here after this crazy year and a half that we've had. But things are going good so far.
All right, so we have our guest here, Albert Ayala, and good friend, and he is an avid UFO hunter. And we have the pleasure of having him talk about E-Ceti Ranch tonight. And Albert, so you went to E-Ceti Ranch. That's in Washington. That's a hot spot for UFOs. That's with James Gilliland. And what got you interested in going up there?
Well, first of all, it's been on my bucket list for years actually. Ever since I first even got my toes wet, when it came to this ET UFO phenomena, and it actually started way when I was really young. But where I think I had some what I feel were like abduction experiences, and a period of about 2 years in my life where I was um, I can recall some memories of some what I thought were like bad dreams at the time, but um, when I was younger, and pretty scary stuff. I was only 5, maybe 6 years old at the time, and it wasn't until I'm gonna fast forward now till 2012, 2011, 2012, when now I'm here in Vegas, and I grew up in Chicago, by the way, and now I'm here in Vegas. It's 2012, and I just kind of like was one day I was just thinking, hey, I started wondering about those dreams that I had and wonder if there was any legitimacy to them. And I've always been intrigued, but with anything related to space, space travel, propulsion technologies, as well as extraterrestrial, life or life beyond our planet, as well as other life on our planet, which is a whole other subject I can get into. But yeah, so in 2012, I joined a meetup group, and it actually happened to be here in Las Vegas. It happened to be a sky watching group. It was actually MUFON, which, for those that don't know, it's a mutual UFO network. And I met the director, and my intention at that time was to try to maybe potentially be like an investigator, MUFON investigator, investigate people that have had abduction experiences. And I really don't like to use the word abduction too much; it has a negative connotation to it. I prefer more like experiencer or contactee, personally. But so I got into that, and I started going to these meetings every week or every month, and from there I started making some connections. I started um, going to hear these individuals that were contactees or experiences. I started going to their talks. There would be like guest speakers at some of our meetings, and that kind of I caught the bug at that point, and I started kind of reading up more books on the subject, looking up. I was just devouring everything I could about the subject, and eventually, now fast forward now to now, um, I I got a call from a friend of mine who actually lives in Washington, and I met him about maybe 3 years ago, and he is a contactee himself, and he has an ability to call or manifest sightings just with thought. And to me, that sounded very much like a CE5, which is it's a type of skywatching event that I've attended. Many of those events here in the last few years. Um, and the CE5 stands for Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. And for some of your viewers here that maybe not familiar with what a CE5 is, it's basically um, or compare that to the first four classifications where you got a close encounter of the first kind, second, third, and fourth kind. The first four are encounters that are initiated by them. Whereas the fifth, the CE5, is an encounter or a manifestation or a vectoring of UFO ships initiated by us. And this is typically done in a group setting, right? I'm starting to kind of delve more deeper into learning this technique myself. People can do it either individually on your own, maybe from your backyard, or preferably it's best to go to an area where there's not a whole lot of light pollution, and maybe like the outskirts of, for example, here in Las Vegas, we either go to like Lake Mead or Red Rock Canyon, and because there's less light pollution over there, and the skies and the stars are just much more clear. So we would go to these. I would go to these events there and just kind of learn the process of what a CE5 is, and doing an initial meditation as a group to try to get everybody on the same page energetically and vibrationally. So and that process normally takes about 15 minutes or so. And there's usually somebody guiding the meditation, for us. But the whole point of this process is to try to vector in these UFO craft that are in our airspace right now, and so I kind of started learning that process the last since about 2013, 2014. I've probably gone to maybe over 40 of them. And the smallest I've gone to were like maybe 5 people in them. The biggest one that I went to was about 2 years ago in 2019, had about 300 people. And this was at this was at a disclosure conference that I went to in 2019 out in California. And that was an amazing process. But not to stray too much, but I got a call from a friend a couple months back, and his name is Brett, and he's a contactee, lifelong, contactee. And he called me up, and I hadn't seen him in a while. He comes to Vegas every so often to do these sky watches, and that's how come I met him. And he's actually a good friend of my hypnotherapist who did a past life regression on me. And so I kind of got to know him that way. And we became good friends. And then one day he just calls me up a couple months ago. He's like, "Hey, Alby, it's going to be my birthday in a couple months, or in next month," he said, this is going back now to last month, June. And he invited me out to E-Ceti Ranch. And he was going to bring his daughter and a couple other friends and so on. And so he invited me to go, and I'm like, wow, this is great. This is really a good chance for me to get out to E-Ceti Ranch. I've always wanted to go there. It's been on my bucket list like forever. And this was kind of sort of a good excuse to go. And so I did. I booked my trip, and I got there, and he picked me up, and that's kind of the whole reason why I even went to E-Ceti Ranch. But now that I've gone, I'm actually considering going again, probably potentially in September or October when it's a little cooler, because June, July, the heat out there is very humid, and during the day it can be a little miserable. But I try not to let that interfere with my fun there. It's a really cool ranch, and I highly recommend.
I'm down for that. I want to go.
It is a cool ranch.
To go there.
No, it's a cool ranch. They have cabins there you can rent, kind of like a hotel. This is out in Trout Lake, Washington, which is kind of like the way that I got there at least. Is I flew there, and I got picked up by my friend Brett. He picked me up at the airport. I flew into Portland, Oregon, first. That was the closest airport, and then from there it took about a 2-hour ride. So we crossed over to Washington, and made our way through the woods, through the forest, and just the scenery out there was just absolutely gorgeous. And you can see why they call it the Evergreen Strait. It's just amazing scenery. So we got to E-Ceti Ranch, and Brett was kind of prepping me for this, and telling me what to expect. And I did a little bit of my own research, before going. And once we got there, you have to punch in a code, which they gave you in advance once you make your booking. And the cool thing about E-Ceti Ranch is there's these white flags along the side of the road as you're entering the ranch. and it basically represents peace. That everybody welcome there, or everybody that goes there is welcome there. So long as you come with that intention: peace, harmony, love. And so that was kind of cool to see. And then once I got there, it's just the energy from a spiritual standpoint there was just off the charts. Cannot explain it. It's just something you have to feel, when you're there. But you can rent, once you're there, you can rent tents, or you can rent a piece of ground where you can put up your own tent. But you can rent tents that they already have up. They have like a queen size air mattress in there with a chair inside, a little table with towels. It's like literally a hotel room, but in a camping tent. And then of course they have the cabins, and they have different variety of cabins there. They go by different prices, but for the most part, it's still pretty rugged in a way. They have showers and stuff there. They provide breakfast for you in the morning and some snacks throughout the day. But I'm looking at a picture now.
So we have some pictures, but before we go any further, Jax is in her car.
Sorry, I got a little too far from my router, so I had to move it.
Oh.
Yeah, Jax has been missing in action for a while.
Yeah,
She's been every which way but loose. going all over the place.
We're getting back to normal. We're trying.
Yeah. So you're in your car now because your studio is under construction.
So yeah, I'm actually in the process of moving, and I am building a brand new studio. So I am temporarily in my office, my mom's car. So excuse me for that.
Well, somebody is clicking and moving things, and there's fumbling. I don't know what it is, but yeah, there's a weird noise. But I'm going to go ahead and start with these pictures. Albert, this is insane. Just so you know, I've been knowing about E-Ceti Ranch for 15 years, and I first got turned on to E-Ceti Ranch, and they have these lion beings that they connect with, right, Albert?
Yeah, that is correct. And there's a lot of supernatural occurrences there from the Lyrans, which are these humanoid type lion beings. There's a lot of Pleiadian energy there as well. I believe some people have had some experiences with our Turians as well, but I felt both the Lyran and Pleiadian primarily on there, and also even Mother Mary as well. She's had some there's been some events in there that have happened throughout time on that ranch that people have experienced. But yeah, so if you guys have any further questions, anything you want me to answer specifically, and actually real quick before we go further, so for some of those that may not know what ECETI Ranch is, it basically stands for enlightened contact with extraterrestrial intelligence.
Okay.
And it's a very, very special place that just has just an amazing energy to it, and probably not the best place for someone to go there that is bringing a negative energy or even skepticism.
Why is that?
It ruins the experience for everybody, because even if it's just one, all it takes is really one person, right? One person, even to have the slightest doubt or skepticism or just in a negative energy, with the intention of going in to debunk stuff, it's kind of like it's just not good for the energy there, just as a whole. So that's why when you make your booking there, when you have a booking there, they tell you in advance. They send you an email in advance to tell you if you're coming with that kind of energy, it's probably best not to go. They even when I went, they weren't taking anybody that got the vaccination.
Oh, wow.
They were not allowing anybody that's in that frequency, in that vibration with that fear, right? Regarding the virus and all that. So they weren't allowing anybody on there. So thankfully, everybody in our group didn't have the vaccine yet or hadn't taken it. So that was a huge plus. but yeah, E-Ceti Ranch. It's definitely one of the coolest private campgrounds and ranches to go to, and got to hang out with James Gilliland a little bit, which he's very well known within the ET UFO community. He's got his own podcast as well. But I think if anyone plans on going there, you gotta go prepared and bring a cooler, bring food, bring whatever you need just like you would anywhere when you go camping anywhere else.
Okay, well, let's go through some of these pictures you sent, and then we'll go in and we'll talk about the Pleiadians and the lion beings and things like that.
Okay.
So it looks like we lost Jax, but so let's see So what is this picture that we're looking at? This is when you first get there?
Yeah, when you first right near the area where it's near the registration office and near where you park your vehicle. They have a big sign that says Skywatch Field, and I think I sent you another picture where you can see kind of just a broad a view of Mount Adams in the background. And on there he has James has a lot of camping chairs already laid out, and that's primarily where we do the Skywatch at night. And
that big field,
that huge, massive field. And I will tell you, James has some third gen military night vision goggles, very expensive pair of goggles that worked amazing during the night. This field gets pitch black. I mean, you can't even see your hand in front of your face. It's so black. Really? It's so dark. Yeah. He actually had a infrared, like an infrared light, but it was more of a floodlight, an infrared floodlight. So when you're looking through these goggles, and along with the infrared light, they're helping you see everything that's there. I kid you not, never have I ever seen hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of orbs, all roughly at about eye level, and they're all just floating around and just moving around. The orbs are just moving around. It was just amazing. And when I was looking through the goggles, I saw one orb literally kind of just floating around, and then it started getting closer, almost coming toward my goggles. And I was kind of blown away by that. It was pretty cool to experience. There's a lot of energy there, a lot of orb energy. Probably, who knows, maybe from, people that have, whatever happened there in the past, but
well, before we move on, Jackie, do you have any questions?
Well, I kind of lost you guys there for a minute. I was wondering, what was that location that we're talking about in the picture? Where's that at?
That's on the ranch. There's a huge, massive field, and it's called Skywatch Field. And on the field, he's got the owner of the ranch, who's the contactee himself. He's laid out all these camping chairs. Okay. On the field for the visitors that go there and they spend 2 or 3 nights or whatever. We do our nightly sky watches, and then we do it with Jace too. So he's there hanging out with us, and I kind of got my body clock kind of got thrown off because when we were about to start the sky watch on the first night, I looked outside and I was like, the sky was still a little bright at 9 p.m. 9 p.m. I mean, the sun was setting, but the sky was still bright. It wasn't dark enough yet. We actually had to wait till 10:30, to really get out there, and it started working where the sky gets dark and you can start seeing some of the stars pop out.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the attractions here with this Skywatch is the Mount Adams in the background. So there's been a lot of reported anomalies, UFO activity, flying discs, a hangar door on the mountain there. And there's a lot of pictures online you can find on this stuff. There's one picture I saw. There's literally a disc near the tip of the mountain. There's another picture where there's like a hangar door. You can see where there's like the edges of the door, a straight line. And you know, in nature, we don't have straight lines in nature, right? Everything's all organic and rough shaped. So this one was very intriguing. When we did our sky watches at night, we were also getting anomalies on the mountain, like late at night. And anomalies, there were some weird flashing lights that were flashing back at us. You know, we had laser pointers as well, so we would point out where this stuff was happening. Unfortunately, I actually brought equipment with me. I had brought some night vision equipment with me, and unfortunately, my equipment malfunctioned.
Interesting.
During every night, it malfunctioned like clockwork. I'm like, what is going on? The rest of the day, my stuff worked fine. My batteries were fully charged. Everything was working fine. And when I got out there at night, and I remember one of the nights I was out there sitting next to James, and he was noticing I was like fiddling with my equipment, trying to get it to work. And he looked at me, he's like, oh, is your equipment not working or malfunctioning? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. He's like, oh yeah, that's to be expected here. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
he's like, yeah,
I was
all the
just
time.
wondering, do people say they like see this only on his property, or are there other claims outside of his property?
Well, I'm sure there's stuff outside his property. Matter of fact, it's funny you asked that, because I sent Kim earlier some pictures of where the first day when I got to, we were driving up to Washington out to Trout Lake, and we hadn't even gotten to the ranch yet. And I was just taking some random pictures of the scenery because it was just beautiful, right? I was kind of in awe. I'm coming from the desert, you know, and so it was just real like refreshing to see the beautiful scenery there, the water, all the rivers, and just so much green, just so many trees, which I loved. And so I was taking these pictures on the way there, and I didn't really bother to kind of go back and look at the pictures until I was on my way back to the airport after the trip. And I was sitting at the airport waiting for my flight and on the way home, and I was just kind of bored. I'm like, all right, well, let me look at the pictures I took. And I started looking at these pictures, and I was like, wait a minute. I started kind of zooming in on some of these, and then I saw some stuff. I can't say per se that they're what they are, but they are anomalies, and it's something that I was able to capture with my phone. No special equipment. And one of the first ones is here is you'll see on the screen there. There's an image I took. Actually, Kim, there's another picture that goes with this one. You'll see a no, not that one. I think that might be it. That one. So I just took this random shot here. If you can see it, and if you look at the very top, there's this weird looking anomaly at the very top, which I remember when I took this picture, I always check for if there's any type of conventional aircraft, you know, if there's like drones or helicopters or even planes. So when I was taking these pictures, I made sure not that those wouldn't go up in there. But I took this picture, and it looked like something, I don't know what it is. It's kind of hard to tell. But what I'm guesstimating it might be something that was potentially, again, UFO craft. I really don't know, but it looked like something that might have been cloaked. Because they have cloaking technology.
Yeah, interesting.
And the interesting thing about when with these technologies, a lot of times, especially with these UFOs, they're in a much higher frequency than we are. So when they're utilizing this technology, you know, you're not going to see it with the visible eye. You know, it's going to be, you look up in the sky and it's going to be like there's nothing there. It's probably there, you just don't see it. and you're not vibrationally matched with its frequency. That's why people probably won't see it.
Yeah.
And we have a consciousness too, right? As when we're trying to view these things. So when I think about my phone, I think about, well, the phone doesn't have a consciousness, right? The phone can capture a lot. That's why a lot of paranormal investigators, sometimes when they go to investigate a haunted location, they'll take random pictures even during the day, even not even on their investigation. This is just random pictures, and then stuff will show up in the pictures that you don't see with the naked eye.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna assume maybe that's what this is, but it's a very, very intriguing object. Like I said, I don't know what it is exactly. I'm just gonna assume that it's some kind of a cloaked craft. But I took this one before even getting to the ranch, and Kim, if you can slide over to some of the other ones. Yeah, here, this one. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you can zoom in or not, but I took this on the bridge as we're crossing from Oregon to Washington, and I didn't think much of it when I took it. But then I started kind of zooming in, and the next series of pictures, I think there's about 3 of them, I noticed there's this white anomaly. It's like an orb, kind of a fuzzy ball type of anomaly that seemed to show up in my pictures at different points. And I don't know if it was following me or not. Maybe it was just random that it just happened to show up in my pictures. But I found it weird that it was showing up in my pictures every time I was near it. So this one here, if you're able to see, I don't know, it's kind of small on my screen, but there's a yellow sign on the right-hand side of the road. Mm-hmm. Right below the sign.
Thing to go bigger, but my poor little laptop is frozen.
Albert, you had mentioned earlier that this all started when you were younger with dreams. Do you feel like those dreams had more reality than actual dream-like state? Do you think that this is something that you've always had around you your whole life?
Yes, and I actually when I joined MUFON back in 2012, I believe. My when I started meeting other people there, other experiencers, some of them were telling me how their experiences started. And then eventually, over time, they awakened and realized, okay, this was legit, right? Yeah. These were legit experiences. Some of them had even taken hypnotherapy sessions, to try to recall or recover suppressed memories from those experiences.
Yeah.
So that kind of lit a fire under me. I started realizing or asking myself, wow, these people have a similar experience. They recall these memories as dreams when they were younger, and then now here they are. Now they realize that they were taken on many occasions. So, and that's how I kind of got into this. I just really started doing it out of curiosity, really more to figure things out for myself.
Absolutely.
And as I started kind of digging into it, it became more and more interesting. And then now I was kind of not just focused on myself. I was wanting to know everything I can find out. About what was happening to people that are experiencing it, as well as what agendas these have, why they're here, and so that's kind of how it started.
Surrounded by them here, on Earth and off of Earth.
I'm sorry. Repeat the first part of that question.
Do you feel like we're surrounded by them, that they actually are here already and they live here on Earth and they are around us all the time?
Yes. So that one I did not hesitate to answer. And the reason I said that is because during my research, my UFO research, especially this past year and a half, right when COVID began, I started kind of following following the work of other UFO research, well-known, world-renowned UFO research, somebody like Michael Salas, who I actually met. And this guy is he's into exopolitics, and of course other people that I met along the way, people that were in the programs that have worked in secret space programs, that other like whistleblowers, people that are involved in the my labs, which is military abductions, MK Ultra, you know, there's so many programs there. Hold on, I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, hold on a second. All right. Oh, okay. Looks like it's gone. So yeah, now I'm really deep into the secret space research space program. Anything that involves cosmic disclosure, and involving also like technologies, suppressed technologies that are being used for these programs, being suppressed from us, of course. Time travel technology, teleportation technology, God, the list goes on and on, of the stuff that's being suppressed from us that's already in use right now. And so that during COVID, when the pandemic hit, we were doing ghost hunting, with occasionally with Kim and a few other people. And when COVID happened, I kind of, obviously all the lockdowns started, and so we weren't really able to go anywhere. So what I did was I put the ghost hunting stuff. We did ghost hunting too. Put the ghost hunting stuff on the back burner for a little bit, and I started to kind of focus more on the ET UFO and secret space program, side of things. And I was reading a lot of books on the subject. I devoured every possible interview, radio interview or YouTube interview of anyone involved in these programs. And you kind of start to put pieces of the puzzle together, over time. But the one thing that I kind of had to be careful of is there's a lot of disinformation out there as well, right? You can't just take everything, that you hear or listen. You have to take it with a grain of salt, and you kind of have to discern for yourself a lot of information. So that's what I did. I just kind of spent a lot of time just researching a lot of stuff, and just my passion for it just grew even more. And it's just so fascinating, this whole concept of, life beyond our planet, and that kind of, there's those two questions that we always ask ourselves. The humanity always asks ourselves, like, what happens after you die, and then are we alone in the universe, right? And so the first question I was able to get answered when I did my hypnotherapy session, right? I went to 2 previous lifetimes. I went to the space between lifetimes as well. I went through my life review process. I remember it just like it happened yesterday. And I started studying up on the subject of hypnotherapy as well, to try to learn more about, wow, what really happens to our souls? What happens when we finish a lifetime, when we die? And so that question got answered to me very quickly. The other one was, are we alone in the universe? And so that one is obviously a no. There's where the universe is just too big, and we would have to be very, how can I say, it's just it's impossible to think that we're the only ones. Right, and from my understanding right now, from everything that I've looked into, that I've researched, was we're in the, at least in terms of the number of species that we've encountered in one way or another, it's been already at least a few thousand, and that's being conservative. Right? I'm sure there's a lot more. And out of those 1,000, a few hundred are more consistently, being we've been in contact with in one way or another, whether it be through a secret space program, whether it be through other ways, through abductions, and so on, military, private military meetings with certain groups. But yeah, so to answer your question, no, we're not alone. You're not alone. We definitely.
I absolutely don't believe that. Sorry, I'm moving all around. I'm trying to get that noise to go away for you guys. I think it might be too far away from my router, so I'm trying to move for you guys. But absolutely agree with you. I don't think for 1 second that it's even possible for us to be here alone. There's way too much that's out there, and people have experienced and seen. And I'm sure Kim mentioned to me that you also had, I think you had a Bigfoot experience or something, and I'm also
that happened at ECETI Ranch.
Watcher, so I believe as well.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, you mentioned that too because Sasquatch has always been somewhat intriguing. I never really researched it hard enough. But I've heard some things here and there. And
so what's this? Now this was outside your cabin, or where was this?
Yeah. So that was literally right outside our cabin at E-Ceti Ranch, and I think it was the final night actually on Saturday night because we left Sunday morning. A bunch of us went to. Were away from the cabins for about a period of about maybe 5 hours. And what James does on Saturdays, for those that are staying over Saturdays, we were there for 3 nights. And what he does is he'll have he built this little hall where occasionally he'll have conferences there and he'll have meetings and stuff, but he does healing sessions there. And so we went to this little hall that he had there, just a few minutes away from the cabins. We walked there. The first thing we did for the first hour, we actually listened to his podcast because he has a live podcast. So he did it there live. That lasted about an hour. So remember, we're away from the cabins during this time. So we waited for his podcast to finish. And then for the next hour, he does a healing session for all the visitors there, and he channels in the Lyrans, he channels in the Pleiadians, and which he did in our session, and he channeled in Mother Mary, 3 of them.
Oh my gosh! Tell us about that.
Okay, so basically we're in this hall, right, and we're sitting after the podcast because everything's kind of arranged, kind of like classroom style, right, with all the chairs facing one direction and different rows and stuff. He's got a little bookstore there too. You could buy crystals and books and stuff like that, and T-shirts as well. And so we finished the podcast, and then I stepped away to the bathroom for a little bit. When I came back, all the chairs were rearranged in a circle, right? And so basically, that's when he was starting the healing session. And so everybody sat in a circle, and then he just briefly explained what the process was going to be like. It's going to take a few minutes. He was right in the center. And he had a female sitting in front of him. He had a little table, small table that he's been using for 30 years where he lays his palms on. And then he had a female sitting he picked a female sitting right across from him because he needed that feminine energy right there. So what he did was he started channeling the Pleiadian council first. And the process there, as he's channeling, this table starts rocking by itself, right? And his palms are on there. And then when they make their appearance, he's verbally letting everybody know that they're here. And actually, before he started the session, he told us, he was like, the first thing I'm going to tell you is that I'm not liable for any healings that happen. I'm not responsible for any healings that happen here during this healing session. If you come here and there's something that you needed some form of healing, and the Pleiadian Council or the Lyrans or Mother Mary provided that healing for you, awesome. But he's like, but I'm not responsible for it. It's them, right? He also said he wasn't responsible for anybody that doesn't get a healing or didn't feel anything, right? So I don't know if it's something where it's just selective or, I really don't know. That was my first time kind of attending that. And so the Pleiadian Council came in, and then after that, he channeled in the Lyrans, and they came in for a bit, and they were just kind of standing off to the side, energetically speaking, of course. And then Mother Mary comes in third. And basically after the session is done, and what they do is they provide like some kind of an energetic group. It's like an energetic group healing session. Mm-hmm. And after the session, people get to kind of explain if they felt anything, if they feel any different, or any type of sensation maybe throughout their body. And about 10 people did. 10 out of there was a group of maybe 35 to 40 people there. There at one time, yeah. So that was pretty interesting. Now, mind you, the podcast took an hour. The healing session took about another 45 minutes to an hour. So that's 2 hours away from our cabins, right? Nobody else was on the ranch. Everybody was in this hall. Then from there, we move on to the Skywatch field for about another 3 to 4 hours of skywatching. So you add the number of hours all together, and so we were away from our cabins for like a good amount of time. And so look, that picture you see right there was a rock stack that I found right outside our cabin. The one in the dark, the one where I'm using the flashlight, that was, I took those pictures right when I that night when I found it, because we went out to our cabins and I discovered this interesting rock structure. And you actually see a water bottle was used in this one, and they stacked the rock on top of it. And I kind of questioned it. And I remember hearing from other people in the past that have gone to E-CETI Ranch that have had these Sasquatch experiences where they might have caught a glimpse of a Sasquatch. One person mentioned one time that they stayed in one of the cabins there, and the next morning they woke up, they opened their door, and there's a rock stack or a rock structure like this in front of their door. And they're like, okay, what the heck is this? Someone playing games with me. So he goes and he asks the registration desk, and then he asks James, the owner, hey, what's going on with this rock structure? Did you guys put it in front of my cabin? And he's like, oh, no, that's actually a welcome gift. And he's like, what? A welcome gift? He's like, yeah, it's a welcome gift from Sasquatch. It's like, not everybody gets it, but on occasion, certain people will get it throughout, whoever. So it's not guaranteed that anybody will get one, right? So I kind of knew this going in, and I was kind of hoping for it in a way. And the funny thing is, I think the first day that I got there, during the day, I went out to the Skywatch field, and you'll see it in some other pictures. There's a couple of things on that field. There's one that's a Pleiadian circle, which is kind of a meditation area, and there's an Pleiadian energy vortex there, and you can connect with Pleiadian energy by sitting there and just meditating. And so I actually did that for about an hour there. And then there's another area on the field that's a galactic medicine wheel. And the medicine wheel, which you'll see on the pictures here, it's probably not visible from there, but it's a galactic medicine wheel. It's just a wheel, and it's made out of rocks, right? And there's a pathway, there's a walkway within this wheel, and there's different sections within this wheel that are labeled after a constellation, like Arcturus, Sirius, Orion. And there's like all sorts of stones and crystals on each one. And what it is each one of these sections is like an energy vortex for that part of the universe. And so you can, when you're walking through the medicine wheel, you can walk into any section that you resonate with and try to connect with your star family. And you stand in this section and you meditate there for a while, and you just absorb any healing energy that they can provide you. And so on this wheel, they actually have a section for Bigfoot, for Sasquatch, and that's to connect with the Sasquatch energy. And over the years, I started kind of putting two and two together, and I realized that Sasquatch is potentially an extraterrestrial as well, right? They may have lived on another planet, very similar to how our forests, look like here on Earth. And we all know Sasquatch or Bigfoot is the king of hide and seek, right? And so sometimes when there's Sasquatch sightings, even on the ranch, somebody will go and try to chase after it to see if they can, try to document something, and then it disappears and just out of nowhere, and potentially they're exiting through the portal, right?
Yeah, right.
Through your portals. So I'm now looking at Sasquatch as an extraterrestrial.
That's
right. That's kind of
that you would actually say that, because I also believe that there is a Bigfoot, extraterrestrial link, and
like a
that
connection,
they
right?
are somehow connected. I absolutely believe
Yes.
that.
And I don't even view them as these ape-like creatures. They're far more intelligent than that. Far more intelligent. They use math. My understanding, they use math very intelligently.
And have language.
And they have language, and they live like a tribe, when they're in the woods there. And they use these rock structures as a way to communicate. My problem is when they left a rock structure for me, I don't know necessarily what it meant. So I did take a picture. I did document it to maybe for me to something to kind of look into or study a little bit more. But I found it amazing that I got a rock structure, and it was like the coolest thing ever, And this rock structure you see right there, I took that the next morning. When I found it the previous night, walking back to after our skywatch, I was walking back to our cabin, and mind you, it is dark. It is so dark there. I mean, it's a creepy dark, and I'm not one that gets creeped out very easily. And this place creeped me out at night. Yeah, it did. And so I'm walking there with my flashlight, and then all of a sudden, I walk up to the cabin, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And I walk up to it, and I see this rock structure, and there's a water bottle that was used.
Yeah.
As a part of the structure. And this little structure here was in a patio area of our cabin. There's a little outdoor patio.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a cooler.
This is literally right outside your own area that you stayed in. Okay.
Yes.
And you said earlier that before you even got there, you knew about it and you were actually thinking about it. And see, I believe that they know we're coming, that they already know we're coming there. They're aware of your thoughts, and they're aware that you're going to be there. And that may be exactly why you got that gift.
Well, you know what? Out of the group that I was there with, I was there for maybe a group of about 9 or 10 people, right? The others were just all friends of Brett, like his daughter, and then her daughter's friends, and so on. I was the only one from Vegas there. But I was also the only one to go to the Galactic Medicine Wheel and meditate in certain areas. And the Sasquatch section was the one I meditated in. I just simply asked. Yeah, I meditated there, tried to make some form of connection with them. And maybe that's their way of replying, like, "Hey, we heard you, and here's a welcome gift. We welcome you." And actually, James welcomed Sasquatch on the ranch. So remember, everything's about positive energy there.
Yes, it is. And I have a quick question about that. By any chance, did you happen to also leave him or her a gift back when you received the rocks? Because I know gifting is a big thing for us in the Bigfoot world.
Right. You know what? I actually didn't. And to be honest with you, the next morning when we woke up, we kind of had very little time to start packing up, and so we were kind of in a rush to try to pack up. We had to check out by a certain time. We all slept in late, right?
Yeah.
So when we woke up, we didn't have much time, and a part of me wanted to take some of those rocks with me because I was like, wow, Sasquatch actually touched these.
Yeah.
Right. Potentially, because we were, like I said, all of us were gone from our cabins for several hours. Nobody was in the area where the cabins are. So I'm thinking that maybe Sasquatch was in the vicinity, and maybe just kind of they probably pinpointed me. I don't know. Right. Yeah. I really don't know, but I'm assuming that they did. And they left me a little welcome gift there, in the form of this rock structure. And in that patio area where we had the cooler, we had a bunch of water bottles in the cooler. When we came back, our patio area, like, things were just kind of like misplaced and a little off. Our cooler was left open.
Oh, wow.
It almost looks like we were ransacked in a way, but not really, right?
I was curious.
Yeah, like it was just kind of looking through stuff and maybe grabbed a water bottle, maybe drank out of it, right? And maybe just left the remaining the bottle right there in that rock structure.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that I never seen, a water bottle, a human-made water bottle, an object placed within the rock
Yeah.
structure. But that structure is on a small scale. I've seen structures that are much grander, like an actual full tree,
Oh yeah.
where Sasquatch will then grab like another tree and kind of like lean it against
Oh,
the one,
absolutely.
and then they put
I
another
actually
one
have
across.
pictures of something exactly like what you're talking about, and I'll post those on our page later. So it shows like exactly what you're talking about, but they're like literally intertwined.
Yeah,
Like
right.
it took a tree and literally intertwined it through like other trees. Like it's not even like possible to do that without somebody actually physically doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, there are some other pictures there, and I think Kim kind of showed them here just a short while ago. One of the staff members that works there, he's been there like maybe 5 years. And in 5 years, he had 2 occasions where Sasquatch gifted him a very special stone, and they left it right outside his cabin.
Oh, that's lovely.
At separate times, separate occasions, right?
Yeah.
During the 5 years.
I would love to get that.
So I told him, he was talking to me and stuff, and I told him, I'm like, hey, do you have those stones? Can I take a look at them? And he's like, yeah. So he goes, he walks away for about a few minutes, and he comes back with these 2 stones. And then he hands them to me, and I'm looking at these, and I'm like, one of them is has a high polish, it looks like a polished stone. The other one looks like it had a rougher texture, but it was smooth to the touch, almost felt like when you sand wood, that kind of smooth finish. That's what it felt like, the second stone. And then when I looked at both of them, I'm like, wait a minute, these look like they're the same shape. So you can see the picture. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So the one on the left is the polished one. The one on the right has the one that looks rougher, but it's actually smoother.
Yeah.
And mind you, within that ranch area, there aren't really any stones that are polished like that.
Yeah.
Like the one on the left.
Wow.
I mean, that had a high polish to it. And so I'm like comparing these two. There's another picture where I actually put them side by side, and they're like identical in shape. Identical.
Wow.
And again,
really crazy.
He got these at different times too.
Oh,
and I put them side by side. I took a picture, and you can see one is thicker than the other, right? One is a little thicker, but it's the same overall shape. And I'm holding these things, and I'm like, wow, Sasquatch, held these in its hands, at some point. And it was just kind of cool holding them.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was hoping for my own experience like that, and sure enough, I get my own experience. Yeah, see, right there's that the side by side one.
That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. There's some other pictures in there where you can see I took pictures of some photographs that they had framed on the wall.
Yeah.
At the registration desk of the ranch.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to show you. What is happening here in these pictures?
This is on the Skywatch field, and I believe that's James on one or two of them. He's wearing like a bluish jacket. But this is on the Skywatch field, and this is where a lot of supernatural occurrences have happened. He's had, like I said, the lion beings have made appearances. He's got all these. You can actually see in the picture some of the energies and these energy vortexes that are just like they're there. They're visible in the picture.
Wow.
You can see one where there's like a group picture, and you can see all these, like this energy kind of like surrounding them. It's pretty cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple other ones there in those pictures that I sent. There's one of Sasquatch, kind of like a let's see, go back up. The one with the red. That one, yeah. That one they have there. That's a Sasquatch sighting right there.
Wow, right there? Or where?
At the bottom right of that picture.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, the bottom right.
And
that
this
one
is on the ranch?
This is on the ranch, yeah. So,
wow.
Like I said, they're welcomed on the ranch, right?
And tell our viewers once again where this ranch is at.
The ranch is located in Washington. It's actually Trout Lake. It's called Trout Lake, Washington. It's a bit of a hike to get there, but the view, the amazing scenery, it makes it all worth it. Driving up there. but it's in Trout Lake, Washington, and that area, that ranch, along with Mount Adams, right there, because the ranch is right at the base of Mount Adams. The ranch is a hotspot for Sasquatch sightings and for UFO activity, and a lot of supernatural and orb-like energy there on the ranch. So that got me excited, thinking on my way back home, I was like, man, I really want to go back now at some point.
Yeah.
I would love to go back. Jackie, how about you?
Of course.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
You can even do this show on site right there. Right?
Yeah, that would be so fun.
That would be a cool thing.
That would be amazing.
And honestly, the room rates there are not expensive at all. It's like $65 a night on average.
Oh my God! So when are we going?
Well, I mean, we would probably have to fly to Portland, Oregon. From there, we probably want to rent a vehicle, preferably a truck, preferably like a truck, because we need to carry like a cooler. We need to stop by the store on the way to pick up food. We can buy maybe a portable grill, grill our own food there.
Well,
but
I have a question.
Yeah.
How far is it from Portland?
Roughly, it's about, when we went, it was about 2 hours, but that also included a little bit of traffic. So,
okay, Jackie, didn't we want to go to Wolf Creek Inn? And that's right there in Oregon.
Oh, that's right. We're also planning a trip there as well soon.
Oh,
so
awesome.
we might want to do a road trip, and I'll go.
Yeah,
so
because
let's
actually, that's literally a huge Bigfoot sighting area.
Yes.
Awesome. Wolf Creek Inn. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what was it? I was gonna say you can also do like you said, a road trip. You can just leave, take a car from Vegas. It's really not that far of a drive when you think about it.
When you go up there, how long do you stay?
You could stay 3 to 4 nights.
Oh, okay.
And it usually includes a Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And you want to stay Saturday night because Saturday nights is when James does his podcast.
Okay.
And he does it live.
Yes.
He does it live, and then he does a healing session immediately after that for whoever's there. And then we do the Sky Watch, and that's the final night event. But the other nights, we just do the Sky Watches. You can go, spend time at the Sky Watch field. You can meditate. They even have a little hill near the campground where the tents are at. There's a hill. It's called God, what do you call it? Not Arcturian. He named it after one of the ETs, and I guess there was like a supernatural occurrence there with one of them. But he puts chairs. You can go up there. You can meditate. You can sit and just try to connect with whatever's there.
Oh, that's amazing.
But definitely a fun trip. Highly recommend it. I highly recommend the 3-night. Staying there at least 3 nights. And better not to go in June or July because it gets hot, like an uncomfortable hot, during the day. But at night, temperature drops to about like 70 degrees.
So this is actually camping like in tents, you're saying, or this is like staying in the cabin?
Both. So you have option when you're online booking. You have option to rent either just a piece of ground, and there's a ton of square footage there for ground, right? You can literally stay anywhere and bring your own tent.
Oh, that's awesome. That would be amazing. I would love
to bring your own tent.
Being able to
Yeah.
And I think it's only like 35. I think it was $35 a night if you bring your own tent and just rent the campground. So it's pretty cheap, right? And they have a separate building where they have showers and bathrooms there.
Perfect.
And they have warm water and all that, And so they have that, and then they provide for extra money. You can purchase their breakfast, which they make for you there in the morning. And they also put out coffee, water, and a little stand area.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, they have fridges there. They put out cookies and snacks throughout the day that are free. You can go up and grab a snack.
Well, this just gets better and better. I love it.
Yeah, and then if you want, if you don't want
some cookies.
if you don't want the hassle, well, so do I. I'm a big cookie eater. If you don't want the hassle of bringing your own tent and having to put it up yourself, you can just rent one of their tents that it's already there.
Oh wow!
And like I said,
for people.
They make it easy. It's actually pretty cool. You go in, you have a queen size air mattress, you have a little table with a shoe rack and a luggage rack, and kind of like a little hotel room, but in a hotel in a tent.
Oh, that's amazing! We're totally down. Kim and I, put us down for 2.
Yeah, we're down for that. Let's keep in touch.
And I actually did both. I tried a tent for a night, and then I tried the cabin.
He's like, for a night, and then I was done.
Well, the thing was, the cabin was nice. I'm not going to lie. The cabin itself, there's different cabins. Yeah. There's cabins that are just like a small cabin. They call it a yurt. And it's got like a pyramidal type roof, and which allows like natural sunlight to come in from the top.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, and they have other rooms that are like meditation rooms with a bed. Oh, nice. Those are all indoors, yeah. And then they have this one big cabin that has like 4 bedrooms in it, and there's a living room that everybody shares, and there's a kitchenette.
Nice. So you go as a group, and you can hang out there.
You can book all the 4 rooms, and then everybody, yeah. And he's got a little bookshelf there with hundreds of books about ETs, UFOs, and all this.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and Sasquatch as well. So,
and tell us, what is the name of the actual place?
E-Ceti. It's spelled E-C-E-T-I. E-Ceti Ranch. It's in Trout Lake, Washington. Again, E-Ceti stands for Enlightened Contact with Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So a lot of famous people.
Anybody can call and anybody can go up there and stay there.
Yeah, you can you go online, right? They have a website. You go online, and you basically book your stay just like you would on any hotel site.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and they have pictures too of what each accommodation looks like. Mm-hmm. And then you get to pick based on what's available, So my recommendation is if we're ever planning on going as a group, it's best to get the larger cabin, the one that has the 4.
I think we should totally do that. Let's plan that as a group. That would be amazing, because the more people you go with, I think you actually get more interaction with energy.
Yes, and the cool thing is, each one of those rooms has 3 beds in it.
Oh.
Each room has 3 beds. So, but it's bunk beds basically. One set of bunk beds, and then there's one single, so it's 3 in each room. So you can cram people in there, just to get a decent, and so that'll cut the cost of the stay as well. Yeah. If you split up amongst the group, but definitely worth it. I will say though, we did have some sightings during our Skywatch. Unfortunately, my own personal equipment malfunctioned, as did for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to take pictures at night with your own camera because it's so dark out there. The phone's camera is just not good enough to do. But you'll find a lot of cool footage from James's ranch on YouTube through his night vision goggles.
Oh, that's awesome!
And you'll see all these cool like power-ups and we've gotten over my time doing all these sky watches. You start kind of getting good at like figuring out what's a satellite, what's a drone, what's a helicopter, of course, and then a plane. And typically helicopters and planes, they have strobes. They have light strobes on there. That's like they legally have to have those on there, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas craft not having these strobe lights. And sometimes they'll show up. There's different colors, right? I've seen red. I've seen oranges. I've seen blue. I've seen bright white. And there's been
I've also heard of those, the different colored orbs. I've heard so many people throughout the years, because this is something I also grew up with as well. And I'm very much into extraterrestrial, anything alien related, Bigfoot related, paranormal.
Oh my God. You're going to love this place.
So yeah, this is like a dream for me.
It is.
For me. I'm a huge Bigfoot girl.
Awesome.
Well, so yeah, this is like right up my alley.
Here's one thing that I was told by my friend, the one that invited me out there for his birthday, who was also a contactee. He just finished writing a book recently, and it's about his life and his experiences. And he sent me an advance copy before it actually got published for me to read and kind of add my notes and kind of give me like my perspective and my insight. And he called me like about a week before we went on this trip, and he's like, "Hey, there were some notes you took on the copy that I sent you that you sent back that I want to use in the book." I'm like, really? I'm like, okay, cool. So, but he was telling me, because of his experience of contacting UFOs, he told me, he's like, for about a week prior to you going on your trip, I want you to meditate. He's like, meditate for at least maybe 20 minutes, every single day before you go, to start setting the intention that you're going to this special place and that you're going to be there during the days that I was going to be there, that I can make, so that you can, set the intention that you want to make contact in some way or form. And so that's why when I took those pictures on the way to the ranch and I started looking at all these anomalies, I was like, wow, that's kind of cool. Totally unexpected. Didn't even notice them until I came back, from my trip. But I actually took hundreds of pictures. I only sent you guys a select few just because there's so many pictures. But I love this place, and I think I'm definitely. I don't think, I know I'm going to be back. And like I said, if you guys are going, count me in too. I'll hop in there.
All right, that's awesome. We're totally down for that. And the fact that you actually want to go back makes it more exciting to go.
Yes, absolutely. Again, it's just all about bringing that positive energy there, and the excitement and the intent to want to contact either Sasquatch or
absolutely.
Or
that's
the
like
ETs.
That's for people like us, it's like such an adrenaline rush of the idea of seeing something or any experience with extraterrestrial or Bigfoot or both, because for people who absolutely do believe like us, it's a dream come true to have that experience. And a lot of people go their whole lives looking and they find nothing, but they still believe, they know it's there. Yeah. And I do believe we are surrounded by it.
Yeah, and it's funny too. I think a lot of what affects when I go to these sky watches, a lot of times now, especially the more recent ones that I've done, I no longer come with just a belief. I've gone actually beyond that now. Now it's a knowing.
Right? Oh, absolutely.
Now it's an absolute knowing. There's no more guessing. Like, I know that they're there. And that's the energy that I bring. That is the intention that I put out there when I try to meditate and try to put the call out energetically so that somebody can answer, right? And
absolutely.
And sure enough, through the pictures that you guys saw, I'm assuming that I got an answer, as well as what we saw in the Skywatch field.
I absolutely agree with you on that. I actually have spoken to many people in this field, and they have straight up just said to me, it is as easy as literally going in your backyard. If you have that belief and you have that connection, you can literally call upon them and they will come.
I've seen people do it within a 5-minute span of time. Like, they come with that energy in the backyard.
That's right.
Within 5 minutes, they'll manifest. In other cases, I've seen where it's maybe 20 minutes, right? Other cases, maybe 30, 40 minutes or so, but then they're just patient, right? You have to be patient. Absolutely. And just have to, they'll come when they come, right? So, and that's, now I've started reading more books on bettering that, my ability to manifest sightings. So, because I really, really, really want to get good at this, right? I don't want to, I want to be able to say that I can manifest almost at will, right? And there's certain people that I know. Somebody like Peter Slattery, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's pretty well known within the UFO community.
Yeah.
UFO. He's been on the ranch too. He's pretty good friends with James, Gilliland. I actually bought one of his books. They actually sell them there. They sell them on the shop there. Yeah, I bought one of his books, and it's about a CE5, and it kind of gets more in depth on his experiences, manifesting them and what to do and how to prep for it and the kind of mindset you need to be able to do it.
It
It's not
definitely
just
has a lot to do with your mindset. I believe that 100%.
energy, frequency, the intent, of course.
That's right.
They all have to be, in alignment.
It's connected. We're all connected.
Yeah, correct. And can you imagine?
Definitely fits into the paranormal realm. It's definitely something we can't explain.
To me, the ET UFO stuff is like the more like exotic stuff of the paranormal, right? And that's what's so fascinating because there's so much out there, so much that is being suppressed from us, stuff that I've like uncovered, especially with the secret space programs, and it's just mind blowing. Some of the information that I've learned, but yeah, definitely, this needs to be a trip that needs to happen.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm thinking possibly maybe like September, October timeframe, where it's a little cooler, and you can bring kind of more like a hat or
September. I don't want to go too cold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's definitely get a group together.
Okay.
And
that would be amazing.
let's do this.
I actually know, I've known him for quite a while. Haven't seen him in a little while, but I still have connections of, how to get a hold of him. But Ben Hansen, and I'm sure you know who I'm talking about, very much into extraterrestrial, anything alien related. I think he actually just did a brand new show. And I'll reach out to him and see if this is something of interest. And see if maybe he would want to go. Maybe he's been there already. I'm not even sure if he's been there before, but that might be something of a huge interest of his.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure, Kim might know, maybe we can get a good,
Yeah, let's reach out and get a group.
Yeah, get a small, I don't want to, I personally, I probably won't recommend too big of a group. Just because, even the group that I was with, just whatever, the 7, 8, 9 people that were there.
Yeah.
Kind of like some people kind of went off, did their own thing, and other people did off their own thing. And I'm like, sometimes I have to go alone and go meditate and try to focus in on this, my overall intent of contact.
Yeah.
Like 6 people is good, or 6 people?
6 people I think is pretty good. I probably don't want to personally go any bigger than that. Plus, you have to factor in all the, the stuff we need for camping, the coolers and
Well, I say 100%. Let's do this because this is absolutely perfect. I am down. I've been wanting to go and have that experience, and I love the idea of it being the Bigfoot alien connection on his property, because that's literally, it's like, it just validates exactly what I believe. And I love that.
And I'll tell you, when I was there, throughout the day, you kind of roam around the ranch, and there's different like picnic tables and stuff you can sit at and enjoy a meal or lunch or whatever. But I found myself in conversation with different people that were other visitors that were there, and talking to them about their experiences and what their intentions were by coming out to the ranch. And oh my God, the energy from everybody that was there was just off the hook. It was extremely positive. It was good to be around people that are like-minded, that have the same understanding, the same frequency.
That's awesome. I love that.
Bring all that same energy. So that's one thing you might even make new friends, when you're out there.
I love that. It's never a bad thing to make good connections and good friends in this community, because
that is correct. Right.
There are a lot of people that are in this that think they have all the answers, and I don't understand how they think they can have all the answers. Like, we're all learning. It's a learning process, and it's like connecting the dots and putting the puzzle together.
Yes.
So, but when you're around like-minded people, it's so nice because you can share that information.
Yes.
And learn from each other, and I love that.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a believer now, and not kind of, I am a believer now in, sometimes you just can't tell people, you have to show them, right?
Absolutely.
For it to really, for it to really sink in, because, it's kind of similar to like, not to get into politics or anything, but, sometimes you tell people about what's going on politically and stuff like that, and people are like, but then when you show them what's happening, they're like, oh, I see what you mean.
Right?
Right. So kind of the same thing. But,
well, listen, guys, we got to wrap it up. I'm glad you guys met, and this is really awesome because this is going to be a wonderful trip.
Talking to you.
Yeah, likewise. Very nice meeting you as well. Hopefully, like I said, we can start even sort of planning.
Yeah, let's do it.
Even as early as now, just to kind of start even booking the rooms, just in advance. You don't have to pay in advance or anything. You pay when you get there.
Okay.
Yeah. But
why don't you guys talk about a good weekend or something whenever it's good for you? I'm a little more open with my schedule, and then let's just move forward and go from there. That sounds great.
Okay. So we're going to settle on 6 people, roughly, right?
Perfect.
And 6 people, and then probably rent that.
Well, you got 3 right here.
Yeah.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sounds like it would be a blast. So, and definitely a road trip by car.
Yeah.
I just want to let you guys know, Duncan O'Finian and the viewers, I'll be interviewing Duncan O'Finian tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. He's got some really great information to come forward, and you don't want to miss that. You're not going to want to miss that one. So anyone that's watching, tune in Midnight Gypsies tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Duncan O'Finian. Thank you guys so much. It's been amazing.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
So good to talk to you after all this time. Jackie, so good to have you back.
Oh, it's so good to be back. Can't wait to get going and move forward. And I'm excited about this trip. Can't wait.
Awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was wonderful meeting you.
All right, ladies. Thank you so much. Likewise. All right. We'll see you guys soon.
Bye, everyone. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.